That's it. There we go. So who's going to call in the light?
Actually, I would love to.
Please, yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So everybody, all I can say is be aware of the oneness that we are and the gratitude that Spirit has for us, for the loving that we bring, for the cooperation, the compassion, for sharing our blessings of Spirit with all those around us and to the extended community of the world, of the planet, and on beyond that. And beloved Father, Mother God, we are so grateful for your presence and for our awareness of you. We place ourselves into your loving care and we ask for the clearing of anything no longer needed, no longer necessary. We place our blessings and your blessings here on the planet. Going through this meeting and also out through the week and the TL gathering this coming weekend. We place all that we are involved in into the light. And if you listen to the blessing this day and saw that silly video of this woman calling in the light, I don't know, somehow there was an inner chuckle with that. So Father, Mother God, we are grateful for every experience. And thank you. Berush Beishan.
Berush
Beishan.
Anai you. Anai you. Anai you. Well, I love you all, and I'll see you on the weekend.
Love you, Linda. God bless you.
Love you too.
Love you, Linda.
Have
Bye.
Bye-bye.
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 And then there were 4.
Pardon?
And then there were 4.
And here we are.
Now that she's gone, we can say what we really
Yeah, we
think
can.
about
We can really let ourselves rip. Yeah.
She's a doll. Huh? What
She's
a great lady.
amazing. She's truly amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so are her family. Oh my God,
Mhm. Mhm.
David and Ashley and those boys, just all
Mhm.
amazing. So what would we like to talk about in terms of our presentation?
Can somebody
Mm.
review a little bit about what we're being asked to do?
Yes, I'll I'll get the Joni sent us a note, so I'll just find it if I can. Oh, Joni. Okay, so what Joni has written is these are important details about sharing our service project at the gathering. I'll just read what she said. So it has been a wonderful blessing hearing stories here and there about the service projects you've been facilitating since February. Now it's time to think about sharing your story with the whole DSS TL community. During our gathering, each service team will have 20 minutes, to share your story. Number one, we have 3 requirements for this presentation or sharing. Number one, your presentation must address the 3 required components of this project: collaboration, community, and service. Number 2, every member of your service team must be involved in the presentation in some way. And number 3, be creative and have fun. I think that's the most important one. Anyway, so, and then she goes on to say 2 service teams will present in sessions 2, 3, and 4, Saturday 3 p.m., Sunday 10 a.m., and Sunday 3 p.m. We look forward to hearing about experiencing and celebrating your journey of collaborative community service in loving TL faculty. So that's what we have. And you'll have that on the, what do you call it, AI companion, and also the video, in case you need to refer back to it.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Andrew, you're muted, love.
Sometimes I sound better that way.
Oh, that's not true.
That's not true. My first thought is that we should ask, I'd be happy to ask Joni if we can go on Saturday morning. Because for us Europeans, that's before 10 o'clock on Saturday night. If we go Sunday afternoon, that's when it's after midnight for us, and we wouldn't be quite as fresh.
Better believe it. So we're going to ask for Sunday morning. Is that what we're asking for?
Saturday morning.
Oh, Saturday.
She said Saturday morning and Sunday afternoon.
Hang on a moment. I just want to double check that, because no, I misread it, but it's Saturday 3 p.m.
Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, and Sunday afternoon.
So the morning session is going to be on Sunday, because normally in the morning on Saturday we have traveler sharing.
Yeah.
So it'd be Sunday morning that we're asking for.
Mm.
Okay, well, I'll pass that on to Linda.
And by the way, I love Andrew when he's like kind of out of his body and he's, it's like midnight and he just is like so sweetly vulnerable. And, I just want to give him a big hug. Say, Andrew, you're closer now than ever. The rest of us are still in our minds.
There you go.
Okay.
Well spotted, Matt. Well spotted.
Yeah.
Well, nevertheless, that was just a preference. If we do it Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, I'll be sure to stay present and not decide to go to sleep early.
I will put in the request for the highest good. How about that?
Do we need to run that through Linda?
No, I don't.
No,
I think
no.
we could just put the request to Linda and Joni.
Yeah, Joni's probably the scheduler on that.
Yeah.
worth including Linda since she's been with us, you know, so I don't know.
Sure,
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
Would you take care of that for us?
Yeah, I will take care of that.
Well, so gracious of you.
I know. It's just my way of being. Okay.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. And it's true. It's a good point to bring up.
So we could proceed by just sort of talking about how what we have done fulfills the collaboration service. And what's the third one? Community.
Collaboration, community, and service.
Yeah, collaboration, community, and service. That was a proposal.
That's what she's requested. And that's what we're to do. But you know, it's like so President, there's 3 required components. Now we don't have to do all of them. And your part, Andrew, with the research you've done is just like it stands out very brightly to me.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, what I was just suggesting is that was how we could proceed right now.
Right.
Let's go look at each of those qualities
Okay.
and see how we fulfilled that.
Mhm.
You know, the interesting thing as I think about it is that everything we have done, fulfills all 3 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
Was there a creativity part? I thought I remember her saying something about.
Well, not on this list that she's. Oh, yes. This week, we invite you to continue your collaboration as you design your gathering presentation. Being creative means anything you want it to mean. So, we
That's
can do
good.
what the hell we like. They have.
Yay. I like it. Oh, finally.
Yeah, nice. My suggestion to myself is I go last because I could talk for 20 minutes and I don't want to do that. So I'll have the final.
Mm.
I vote to have the final 5 minutes so I don't talk everyone off the screen because I could
That
do that.
seems reasonable.
Well, she says that that we each need to participate, but I'm not sure that we
Hmm.
need to decide that everybody's got 5 minutes. It could be we could participate in a song
That's right.
Yeah, for sure.
or
A 20-minute song?
Yes.
20 minutes.
All together now. All together now.
Do any of that. Have you got a song for us, Matt?
Well, as a matter of fact, I don't. But
A
I
song's a
could.
great idea, but it only includes really 2 people, 2 processes. One is the music and one is the verse, the words, the lyrics. After that, the singing is, you know, is a modest contribution. It's easy to sing off of, you know, but the interesting part would be I know we could each write a verse.
Mm.
No, that's
Matthew,
not my forte.
you're a musician, so you could have when we finish, you could put it to music. And then we could either each sing our verse or even better, all of us sing it along. Well, that's about as far as I got on that string.
Okay.
I'm thinking it was just an example.
Yeah. You
No?
you know the challenge, and not to put a wet blanket on this, but the thing with Zoom is that when people are singing
Yeah.
and coming from different places, it's all different time. So it's slightly off. It might be joyful, but it wouldn't necessarily be pleasant for the ear.
The digital packets are not
Ye-
cooperative.
Yeah. I really liked the idea we had last week where someone was saying to do like a visualization. That could be something I would happily contribute for Windermere.
Yes.
based on, based on all the things that we've worked on, talked about. I could include the piece about, plenty of abundant financial support and also just seeing people coming there and thriving and the community strengthened and, and so on and so on.
Mhm.
I'd be happy to do something like that. I don't know. Um, and it just seems kind of like what Ann said, like it just seems like a great fit. Andrew, I don't know if you're open to talking about some of the research you did, and just what your experience of it was, but it might be a valuable contribution.
I would love
Maybe
it.
you have some.
Yeah, I'm happy to collaborate and contribute in any way I can.
There are three things that sort of come up for me. One is I really heard what you said, Carol, about Windermere being about learning. That just struck such a chord for me. And I thought, yes, that's what Windermere is about. And so what has been my learning so far? I don't necessarily, it's not necessarily what I'm going to share, but that's something that really stood out for me very much about what you were sharing there. And the two things that stood out for me right at the beginning, what David Whitaker talked about, one was he talked about, and this was at the birthday party that was before we started this, of growing the golden age of Windermere. And the golden age, and it's in a seminar that JR did way back in the 1970s, I think. And the things he pointed out was joy, humor, laughter, and happiness. And it's like, I really heard those as part of the culture of Windermere. So that's one thing I heard. And the other, so that's the golden age. And the other thing I heard that we haven't really gone into, but it doesn't matter, was he talked about the vision to create $4 million. And it's not that in 4 months we were ever going to create $4 million, but it was part of, to me, it was part of a guiding light. It's not to focus on the money, but what we've done is really focused on the land of Windermere and developing the land and the, what was the thing, the seed dot, whatever it is you're doing, which I thought was fantastic. So all of that is, in a way, to me, is laying the foundation that eventually will lead to the $4 million. And I see that it's entirely possible, but it's like that thing where you, a plane is flying from San Francisco to Tokyo or whatever. It doesn't go in a straight line. It goes in a sort of jagged line. And the foundation that I feel that we've been doing as a group, and particularly what you've been offering, Andrew, is the research into the land and the funding of it, and the research for funding. I mean, that's been fantastic. And Carol and Matt are people who have access and do visit Windermere. And your experience, Matt, with David Randall, I think it was. I thought that was very significant. And Carol, you bring all your experience of having worked in prana and all that. It's a very, Windermere is not the same as prana at all, but you've had that experience of being in the movement and supporting development in all the things that you have done. You've got that experience that, it's just like a knowing that that's how I see what you're contributing, or, just your experience, the experience of who you are. So that's just my thoughts.
Plus, Carol, you're really cute.
It's true.
That's really good to hear, especially today.
Well, you have it again. You are really cute.
Yeah, so maybe we better dive into what the 20 minutes could look like.
I think it could be quite spontaneous.
Well, I really like the visualization idea.
Mm.
And,
Yes.
and it seems to me that might be the way to finish,
Mm.
Okay.
and before that we could talk about what we've done or what our experience was coming together, the positive value of our weekly meetings. Others did not, we meet especially on a weekly basis.
No.
True.
And this has been a real pain having to show up every Monday night.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Andrew. I'm so sorry.
But I was thinking as I was chanting when we were calling in the light, how grateful I am that we come together. It's just one more moment in the week when I can be with kindred souls on the same path. And so that's been a plus, and I'd be happy to mention that as a benefit of our meeting. There is the quality of community among us. And of course, there's the quality of community of what Windermere means to the greater MSIA family. And certainly, I'd be happy to speak to seed.org and perhaps even read, just a line or two of their mission statement, which really speaks to community gardening as their
planting a seed, if you will, for future fundraising efforts.
Right.
Oh, wow. Guy is, this early in the morning for you too.
That's this early.
Yeah, we're impressed, Matt.
I'm at my best when I'm groggy.
So anyway, there is, it's not sure how much we want to outline what each of us might choose to share, or whether in fact that would be a good idea for each of us to have a subject, and speak to that subject, and then finish up with the visualization. I thought JR's quote today, about don't accept the impossibility.
Yeah.
It'd be a great quote if we want to talk about the $4 million endowment.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is that public?
I don't know.
Yeah. No, John has shared that publicly a number of times.
Oh, we
Okay, good.
have.
Fantastic.
Can you say what it is? Are we talking about an endowment that is happening or what?
No, that it's the fundraising is towards that end.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think the more it's mentioned, including among the whole GSLS community, I think that's a good thing. But it's just a vision, not just a vision, but it is a vision and it's a possibility. It's like in the quote, for today, it's like you hold that possibility, that vision of possibility, and things shows up like you have no idea. And particularly because it's got JR's energy still with it. And it's hot. I do see that happening. But then
we could mention that in our discussion of our experience of what we're doing, but you could also point to it in a visualization. So we could if when we mention it, we could use JR's quote because because in order to open people's acceptance, what's the term that uses the reticulator activating system?
There you go.
To open themselves, the goal is to have a $4 million endowment so that it can run on its own.
Mhm.
And, and certainly it's a possibility, as JR has said, and then we quote that quote.
That's good.
So then if you mention the endowment in the visualization, it's sort of like the reticulator. I tried to remember that for the last 6 months. It just came through. But that reticular activating system has opened up, and people are more willing to attune to it and consider it. And
Yeah.
so where are we?
I just
Well,
think it over. I think one requirement is that each of us does participate in some way.
yes.
So it doesn't have to be everyone. The visualization sounds a really good idea, and that may take more time than I don't need to take, as long as I have something to say, and I'll find something to say. So I'm not bargaining for time, but I think what's required is that each of us do contribute something.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's
So I kind of like where we're going with this idea of maybe doing the visualization at the end,
yes.
but then
Yeah.
talking it up, starting out with this kind of the way Andrew you laid it out with this we have this beautiful property and people living there. Give some background that we've been meeting every week to support um, you know community, and that we talked to Linda, and that a big focus of that is on growing sustain because another thing we could mention if we wanted to is those three tenets that David Whitaker pulled out that he likes to say are Windermere's core values. So at MSIS staff, there's like 5 or 6 core values now. So David was taking a version of that and saying the core values of Windermere are sustainability, peace, sustainability, and community. So you could mention that or not, but that's in the mix, and just talk about how as we meet every week, we infuse our energy into what would be best for Windermere, and you could talk about how we've seen, you know, we had these steer that weren't really fitting in with the community. And we talked about how we could sell them, and we were, before we even had time to take any action on it, somebody, friend of a friend, it's like it happened. And that seems like spirit action to me when things like that just start happening. The garden and the work party with the Latin people. I mean, there's so much we could talk about. I'm just throwing out things that come to mind. But the Latin community happening to just have a peace walk up there, and then with Linda having her work party, and they just completely fertilized the entire garden, with 20 some people. That's the largest work party they had in years. And so we could go on and on about, I mean, I could just go on and on as we all could. So I guess it's just like, what do you feel called to talk about? I feel very keen, as you Rich like to say, on the visualization part. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave, however each one of us is called, I think is really feels strongly to speak about is really important.
Well, I'm happy to talk about the research process.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, for a moment, I thought, well, maybe we could each talk about what the others have done. I'll talk about what Anne's done. Anne will talk about what Carol's done. I'll talk. But
Well, you've been doing big time, Andrew, the actual involvement with the fundraising stuff. And I just I would offer my personal view. I mean, up in my room here, I have a painting of Windermere, and it's been there since it was done in 1992. So I have this anchor inside of myself. And for me to be in a project which is about Windermere, it's close to my heart because I was there in the early 1990s. And so to be involved in a lovely group of 4 of us, and Linda when she joins us, has just been a huge blessing. That could be my input.
Yeah.
And I love the 2 things I feel strongest about, which is not just for me at all, but the fundraising to 4 million, say dollars, not euros, dollars, and also the golden age. Those are 2 things that really resonate for me. But
great.
But I can just give my personal, because I'm not a visitor currently to Windermere, but I feel very strongly about my part here. Apart from doing the videos and the AI. how fluent I am with AI. Not. So I mean that is very easy for me. So I can give a personal experience or view.
Well, to me, since it's been top of mind for you to mention David's vision that he's shared and to describe it, and to mention the endowment fund. I think that's a natural for you to share that. And I love the way you just described it for us, that you've got this painting on your wall in the south of France of Windermere, and that connection. And when the opportunity came and you saw it, that, I think that's really a beautiful, heartfelt expression.
That's the sort of thing that, and I could go on at some length. This is why I say I wouldn't be right at the end, because I think the visualization at the end is really good. But I need to monitor what I would say because I have such enthusiasm.
Well, I would recommend that you have an outline of about, with about 3 subjects on it to make sure you cover that, and then maybe set your iPhone timer on.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Put the timer on. I'm seeing you doing the welcoming and sharing what we just talked about, and then it going to Andrew for the details of how we've been researching and the possibility of taking advantage of that organization. And my part could be about my experience at Windermere. Because the last time I was there, I had a very special experience at Qualeen, and that could hold some value for people listening. And then we end with the
visualization.
The visualization, yeah.
Beautiful.
And also one of my skills seems to be to getting things to the next stage. Like right now, I just laid out the 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm drawn. That's how I'm drawn to participate.
Wonderful. And I would also.
And I want somebody to mention Linda, because she's been an integral part, and it was, just filling us in on what's going on was just so rich.
Yeah.
And a real, I feel like, an important part of us as a team.
In line with that, and I think Ann positioning would be good to do that, and to share how valuable Linda and everybody, Linda and David and the community at Windermere, how much they valued knowing that there were 4 of us meeting every week thinking about the future of Windermere.
Lovely.
It's a small group of adults there. And I haven't had that experience, but I can imagine that there are times when they feel on their own.
Well,
You know,
certainly when we first met up with Linda, she'd been under a lot of stress. And from that first meeting, she said that really helped her a lot.
Yeah.
And she's doing her thing for Windermere, but she's also helping to look after the grandkids.
well, it's part of that whole. It's part of the community.
Part of the
you know.
community, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you think of David being pretty much the kind of the guy in charge there, but then look at what he's doing for PTS.
Yeah,
You know, it's
exactly.
not like he's got all day, every day in the garden.
Yeah.
I like where this is going. So I've got Anne, I'm writing down Anne, welcoming, mentioning Linda and David and the gratitude for the weekly meetings that we've been doing, because it is important to mention we've been meeting weekly and
Yeah.
infusing the energy. And then I've got there might be more, Anne, but I've got Andrew talking about fundraising and the $4 million goal. Is that
Well, I would have Ann mention that
you want
as
Anne
part of the
mentioning that?
vision at
Yeah.
the beginning. I can just kind of do a segue into why we ended up doing the research. Was we were looking at what could we do, and one of the thoughts was that we could do some research for fundraising or grant writing, that sort of thing. So I'll mention that in that context. And that's how I got started on poking around.
But also,
David's input as guidance.
it also brought forward in a way David Randall and then the seeding.com or whatever it is. And those two things, because what I learned from David Randall coming up and going with Matt is how when people come, their lives transform, and I don't have the words for it, but I was very touched by the experience you had, Matt, of being with David Randall on Windermere. It made a big difference to him. But that's just one person who, by accident, in a way, came and had the experience in Windermere. But it's there for many other people who wouldn't necessarily know about it, or anyway, something along those lines. But the seeding company, the seeding whatever it is that you found, I think that one is also brilliant, because they're so in alignment and in tune with what we're doing. Fabulous. I mean, that was such a great find.
And as an aside, I'm impressed with the way that seed.org's major benefactor, Tom's of Maine,
Yeah.
which if you don't know,
Wow.
they're, and their seed.org is in Portland, Maine. But I'm not, and Tom's of Maine has been a long time manufacturer of soaps, not cosmetics, but soaps and
Toothpaste.
Deodorant. I happen to use their
deodorant.
products. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and so they've been a real part of the kind of the back to the earth alternate, clean up the environment by using simple ingredients. And so if you had a chance to look at that email I forwarded, they have funded $100,000 grant to seed.org. And then I love what they said. It's like if for every person you can get to come read one of our blogs and hit a like, we'll add another dollar, up to $25,000. So it's a really a win-win kind of contribution that they've asked for.
Well, I'd signed on the dotted line or did whatever they asked us to do. I did that.
Yeah,
of course, easy.
So we got to, now we know that Anne's going to talk. Now then we know that Andrew's going to talk. I'll follow Andrew, and Matthew wraps it up.
Beautiful.
And I
love your idea
give,
too, to talk about your trip up there, Carol, because it
Yeah.
personalizes it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of the same similar experience that David Randall had, even though I've been there a million times in the last 30, 40 years. I had that kind of awakening. And I would like to be able to, for somebody, and I can do it myself, is mention how valuable Linda's input has been. And that's that. And I considered her part of this team as for
Oh.
all the times that she could be with us. I know she doesn't necessarily see it that way somehow. Maybe
Yeah,
it's her humility, you know. That,
Mhm.
Well, there's one,
yeah.
you know, it's one thing to be a faculty advisor for a group that is working on something. It's another thing to be a part of the community
Right.
of the thing that the group is working on.
Yeah.
So she really has been an inside person for us to
Yeah.
have a realistic sense of the of what's going on in Windermere and how it is for the community there. Yeah.
I think that's what I would include in my welcome, to mention her part, the part that she played, and David and the community up there. But Linda really has been such a key person for us on our weekly, and she's come. I think there's only one that she didn't come to. I think she's been to all of them, even if not only, you know, one of them. Maybe she was for a short time, but she's been very present with us.
And her participation is one of those things that that every one of us could chime in about.
Yes.
So, and I would, you know, I would actually encourage that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are we on timing? We've got 20 minutes.
Well, we've
Andrew,
been
how
going
much
for
time do we
40
need to give you?
We've been going for 40 minutes now, Carol. So we got 10 minutes left.
No, the point I'm trying to, that's not where I was going. It's like, Andrew, how much time does Ann need? How much time does Andrew need?
Well, let's go
Yeah.
backwards. Let's start with a visualization.
Yeah.
And we've got 20 minutes. But realistically, who has done a visualization recently? You know, 5 minutes is pretty good
Yeah.
for a
Plenty.
visualization.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want any more than that. And I think it's good to hear from everyone. So why don't we just each kind of play with 5 minutes, and then, you know, it doesn't have to be to the dot.
No, it doesn't.
And it's
But
not the quantity, it's the quality, isn't it, really? It's the
Absolutely.
essence that we
Mhm.
is essential
And
from our point of view.
I would encourage each of us to have our timer on from the start of our 20 minutes so that we know where we are.
Listen, I
absolutely.
certainly do that because, like I said, I could talk for 20. So I
Well-
will make sure I will have my iPhone on a 5
Yeah.
and I will wrap before the end of the 5 minutes.
And of course, if it helps, have some keywords on a notepad or something, or on your iPhone to talk from. I know I always use that.
Yeah, as do I.
I kind of don't, but
Well, you'll be sure that you've covered the topics you want to cover.
Yeah.
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 I mean, the beauty of Zoom is that it's not nearly as nerve-wracking as talking to a live group. You know, you're in the comfort of your own space, but it still is helpful to know, you know,
Yeah, what you want to say.
yeah, that you said everything you wanted to say, not that you're doing anything by verbatim, but just by subject matter.
No, I understand. That makes sense.
Yes. So we've won you over. You're going to have an outline?
You what?
You're going to have an outline?
Not sure I have an outline. I'll have a sense of what it is I want to say. And as I could go longer, I will wrap before the end of the 5. So I'll have what's looked as what seems to be the essential things, and I'll wrap before the end of the 5. I will be responsible and accountable for my timing. And have
So I think that's a fair observation that Matthew made, regarding my presence after midnight. Uh, so maybe the idea of having us, asking that we could go in the morning is not so important, and just let the chips fall where they want to put us,
Yeah.
and we'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, she considers that every single weekend
he does.
for all of you Europeans. So I can't imagine she wouldn't consider it this time.
Yes. In this case, it's
Mhm.
both of you Europeans.
Oh, the European.
Well, there's Vanya in. No, wait, I'm mixing it up. She's in MSS, not DSS.
Right. All is right, though, because Prince is in DSS.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and Inga also.
Oh,
Inga.
Inga,
Yes,
yeah.
and
She's,
Inga.
if you consider Great Britain Europe, I guess you can do that. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Will suffer from Brexit. Oh,
they may not be in the EU, but they're pretty close to the European mainland.
we're not too far from Europe, although England doesn't think that we're really, that we're Brexited. We're not part of that. It's all crap, isn't it? Really, politics.
Yeah.
Our
That's
politics.
yeah. Oh, I've got I was making notes for myself about what each person would share, and then I guess I'm happy to send this to you guys, but of course just run with whatever is going to help you with remembering what you're going to share, is what I'm saying.
Well, the AI notes will do the same, no?
It might. We'll see what it does.
Notes anyway, they might be much clearer than AI or the videos.
Yeah,
So
I'd be a little careful because AI is listening.
that's right.
AI's what?
Listening.
You might be upset.
Well, exactly. Well, it looks like
Okay.
Matthew's done.
I'm here.
We saw that yawn.
That was a yawn. That was a real yawn. But um I wouldn't be done until one of us does a little blessing, vi visualizing for Windermere and for the light action taking place there. So,
could I vote for you, Matt, to do the little?
oh goodness. I would be glad to, and I'd be honored to do that. Okay. Is there anything else before we go into that?
Mm-mm.
I think
No. Okay.
we're complete, aren't we?
Right.
It's the one who knows
Okay.
I'm complete. You usually say if you're complete.
Okay. Well, let's just close our eyes and open our hearts. And Father, Mother, God, we once again give thanks for coming together in your name and bringing forward this consciousness of the golden age that's here and now, uh, where joy and happiness and laughter and peace reign. And we see Windermere as an important cornerstone of our traveler's ministry and of our entering into this golden age. So we see that Windermere is blessed with abundance, that it has all the financial support it could need and more. And we see people living on the property, collaborating, joyfully serving, cooperating with one another, bringing forward a beautiful garden, bringing forward support for animals and plants in a sustainable way, loving their their service and being blessed by it. And we see a host of key light holders, of which we are four. And we are those standing tall in our ministries and in our leadership, acting as conduits for this beautiful light action that comes through Windermere, that extends out to the whole of Earth. We do this through the Melchizedek priesthood and the office of the Christ, the mystical traveler consciousness, and the preceptor. We're our line of authority. And we see that truly there are so many blessings yet to be revealed in our beloved Windermere property. But the peace is present, that it starts inside each one of us. And as we let go of any againstness that we might have at this time, we embrace the choice that peace is here and now. And we say, Berush Beshem.
Shan.
Baruch Bashan. It's going to be great, you guys.
Going to chant.
What can we chant?
Anai you. Anai you. Anai you.
So beautiful. And it's been great sharing this little project with
Mhm.
I'm grateful that we've been this.
Well, and maybe it would be good to mention that we're open to continuing somehow, maybe especially with the seed people, because that seems to be the most likely place that we would qualify for.
Absolutely.
Well, may I ask? Um,
Huh?
I'm interested in us continuing to meet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Matthew?
Yeah.
And it may not be a weekly, I mean, we may be able to relax behind that a little bit, but I'd like us to
Keep in touch.
each of it.
Yeah.
Well, I'd also like us to express that to our classmates.
Mhm.
This has, touched us such that we want to continue to stay close to the pulse of what's going on with Windermere.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll mention that with the seed.org.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
If I don't, Carol, you pick up on it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be great if
Well,
you.
especially since the timing of it is later in the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay.
Okay.
God bless us all.
Let's us all have a great week and a fantastic weekend ahead. Yeah.
Blessings upon us.
See you very soon.
You bet.
See you all.
Good
Love
luck
you.
with your reflections, folks. If you're still working on them.
I still have to even start mine. Send light.
Me too.
Me too. Me too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.